And we are back with Prologue Part 2. I do apologize. Mina! Baby! There is no excuse for you to knock my phone. Oh, goodness. There was no reason for that. There was just absolutely no reason for that. For anybody that has been following my channel for a while, y'all will know that I have a cat. Her full name is Wilhelmina Harker. I call her Mina for short. She is my baby. But sometimes she can be an absolute brat. I need to get a little icon for her. But no, she just knocked my phone over. Oh well, it's fine. Don't touch my phone. Don't knock it down, please. I have gone so long without breaking this thing. If it gets broken because of you, we're just gonna have to start selling, like, Topine pictures, so that way, you know, I'm gonna pay for a new phone. Cat Topine. Anywho. Sorry about that. Alright, so we are back with part 2 of the prologue. I had to cut it short because, unlike the prologue for the London case, this one's actually a little long, even when you're, like, speed running. But let's take a look at what else we have. Okay. So, Florette confirmed the collection. Speaking of, just going through and clearing all the profiles and everything. So now we can go take a look at the bedroom. And Angelina's bedroom. I don't like you still. I really and truly don't like you. Was there anything else I could talk to Elizabeth about? Nope. So I do actually have to go talk to the Countess. I don't like this woman. I really and truly don't like this woman. It's just... oh! But hell, I have to talk to her.
Really, officer, you are wasting both your time and mine.
Push on information regarding finances. Oh, this is where we get to the challenge. This is where we get to the challenges.
If you have something to ask, officer, I suggest you stop wasting my time further and just get on with it.
I have already seen and heard how hot-tempered Madame von Busch can be. I should approach with some sensitivity. So, from here, pay attention to the questions marked with that. As you make your choices, depending on how you approach Cassandra, you may or may not be able to extract new evidence from her. So, that little, like, shield symbol means that she's pretty much just guarding the truth from us. And we have to be very careful with how we proceed and what decisions that we make. This took me about... maybe a couple of times to get, because they can actually be quite hard. And so unlike the London case, whereas the mind maps were just a little harder, the this section of the game, which I really do wish they had included in the London case, because it would have made it a little bit more, I guess, difficult. But it also would have been a little bit more, it would have added the same flair as the first cases did. But enough chit-chat, let's go. Should approach this with some sensitivity.
And this is how she repays me? I will not be happy until I see her sufficiently punished.
That's good, that's good, that's good. So, sometimes you do have to pay attention to what Poirot thinks. So, we did get a little, like, being sensitive, like, being understanding to the situation is what got us through the first one. You typically go through about 3 of these before you finally get the new evidence. So we can continue being sympathetic here. So by being empathetic, or even... I can't remember. It has been so long since I have played this game. But I think if you're being empathetic, there we go.
You have finally come to your senses and have seen her guilt. It is challenging at times, I will admit. But I can assure you, the Van den Bosch name is as strong and prevalent as it has always been.
So by playing the sympathy card, we pretty much can get her to, like, break down her defenses and everything. There we go!
I have tried my best to provide for Angeline, although sometimes she may not see it that way. She is not to know about what we have discussed. It is my burden to carry.
So even though she's like a massive, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say a massive bitch, she still cares for her daughter. I kind of relate with that myself because my own mother. But, you know, I'm not gonna talk about that right now. That's a little too personal.
You are accepting the hand you have been dealt and raising a fine young mademoiselle. That is all that can be asked of you.
And you have done nothing but bother my staff and my family. I cannot stand here any longer and listen to this second-rate officer speaking such drivel.
He was just trying to compliment you. Okay. You're not as nice as my mom. You're still a mother and you still tried your best, but... I still don't like her. Madame Van den Bosch offers me the small slither of emotion, showing how she cares for her daughter before she makes haste to the door. Is it out of embarrassment, or perhaps there is something she is still trying to hide? I think it is perhaps time I continue my investigation elsewhere. So there we go. We have broken down Cassandra's defenses and obtained new evidence. In this case, it seems like you really hit a nerve with Cassandra. Well, of course we hit a nerve with Cassandra. Excuse me. And now we can head upstairs. This really is an enjoyable game. I honestly prefer this one to the London case. Don't get me wrong, the London case was great. And some of the new things that they did for the London case was cool. But I wanted to come back to the very beginning, back to where it pretty much all started. So, to speak to Mademoiselle Angeline.
The longer you are here, the further the criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away. Maman is never happy with anything these days. Also, Florette does have a habit of not doing things exactly how Maman wants them done.
And how does she react when she sees Florette not doing things the correct way?
Maman has a temperament of a kicked cat. Florette has often been on the wrong side of it.
That is how she responded today?
She was shouting at her, and when Florette would not admit she took the bracelet, Maman really lost her temper. I have not seen her that angry before.
You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit and return your bracelet.
Alright. So that gives us more evidence from Angeline's perspective. So, am I allowed to search the room? Yeah. Take a look at the broken glass.
Aha.
Rather irresponsible and dangerous to leave it in this state, whether one is in a rush or not. There's the fire poker.
Aha.
It has been left out, oddly not replaced in its stand. The ending has a hooked spike. What further use could it have? This must be
Ooh.
where the piece in question has disappeared from. So many beautiful pieces remain. So I steal the bracelet. There's a few more pieces in here. Also check out the fireplace.
Ah.
This must keep the room rather snug on a cold evening. It's covered in a black powder. It would not be too much of an assumption to think that it has come from dealing with the fireplace. The gentleman is the same as the one from the hallway. Judging from the cracked glass, it must have been recently dropped. Alright. So, we've actually got 2. Investigate the crime scene. Let's go ahead and do that. We have the fallen suit, the abandoned poker, the jewelry box was left open, we have the cleaning rag, broken glass, such a delicately framed photograph is missing its protective layer of glass, but why? I think I know why.
Magnifique.
It seems the photograph fell on the floor and Angeline replaced it. Cool. Which opens up a new conversation with Angeline.
I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me.
Yeah. Alright. So. I wonder.
I must take a different approach if I am to uncover the truth.
As I said, it's been a while, so I don't remember all the answers.
This will not get me any closer to my goal.
Okay.
Order and method.
Nope.
That is the way to solve the problem.
See, I did that. Another thing, too, that they also included in this game was if after, like, 3 times you can't figure it out, they, things start glowing.
The
Give
pieces
you a
of the
hint.
puzzle are finally coming together.
Perhaps the handkerchief was used to clean up what the rag did not. Which opens up the another conversation with Elizabeth. Cool. And now we can also work with here because we do have the abandoned poker. Which I think should belong to the poker stand downstairs.
What a revelation.
Which means the poker was moved. Alright. So that's all that taken care of, and while we are here, we can go ahead talk to Miss Angeline.
The longer you are here, the further the criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away. How should I know? I returned to the room and father was face down on the floor. It must have been the burglar.
So it is your father that is the subject.
Isn't he handsome? I remember watching him sit for it. He kept looking across and smiling at me. The artist was getting awfully angry at him.
If you'll entertain my curiosity, would you tell me about your father?
Maman never wants to talk about him. She says it's too hard, but she acts more like she doesn't even care he's gone.
I'm sure that is not the case. It must have been very hard for her, for you both.
I miss him every day. He always knew how to put a smile on my face. I remember how much fun we would have, all three of us. In the summer, father and I would play hide and seek while Maman read. She always helped me though whenever it was his turn to hide. I would stand in the gazebo, cover my eyes and count, and when I turned, he was nowhere to be seen. Maman would lower her book and flash a look towards his hiding spot. After I found him, he clapped and cheered as though I had won a gold medal. When I was hiding, it didn't matter where I was. He could never find me. I always thought I was an expert hider, but when I think back now, I know he was letting me win. He always said my smile was prize enough for him. He always knew just what to say.
I'm sure he would want you to be smiling today, even under such circumstances.
Aww. Having heard her story, I can begin to see why he is so missed. It is a tragedy, the loss of a loving father and husband.
You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit and return your bracelet.
Alright. So now we need to go down and talk to Elizabeth. I keep forgetting that I can't turn the scene in this, unfortunately. I wish I could, though. I also like that this game was built more with like a visual novel in mind. Than... What's the best way I could put this? This game's built with more visual novel in mind.
Certainly, officer. Madame is under a great deal of strain. It can't have been easy for her to lose her husband, raising Mademoiselle alone. She can be quick to anger.
And this morning, it sounds as though it was such an occasion.
It's not the first time I have had to stand and watch such treatment. I hate to see it. As I said, Madame hasn't had the easiest time.
Mm-hmm.
Madame's scolding of Fleurette this morning was the worst I have seen her temper. I wish you could see that Fleurette is just trying to do her best.
Could there have been another reason for such a reaction?
Madame was not happy Fleurette was late. All through breakfast, Madame was watching her with a piercing eye. But she's still learning the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The lounge? A package?
Don't try to play coy with me.
Oui, it is quite hard to miss.
Oh, how silly of me. I must have had my head in the clouds this morning. I'm sorry, I can't help you further. Besides the terrible rain? No. I woke, began my duties with Mademoiselle. I had already laid out a clean dress. I helped her into it, and prepared her for the day before getting started on tidying her room as neat as a pin.
And the bracelet was still there when you left the room for breakfast.
I'm sure of it. I had it down before Mademoiselle Angeline. Why, yes, officer! I misplaced it after wiping a stain from Mademoiselle Angeline's sleeve at breakfast. You are a great detective.
Too bad nobody else sees that.
You are not the first to say. Had she not noticed it herself, I imagine Madame would not allow even the smallest imperfection.
It baffles me how she couldn't have. It was only luck that I spotted it before Madame, and a good thing I did.
Merci, mademoiselle. Your assistance has been invaluable.
And we now have another mind map. Mademoiselle Elizabeth was reluctant to acknowledge the parcel that caused young Florette to be so late. Could there be something behind her avoidance of the subject? If there is a reason, I must establish what it is. So.
I must act on thought and fact, not on impulse.
I still figured I'd give it a shot. There we go.
Another success. I never doubted myself.
The carving acts as a subtle and private reminder for them both. The carving acts, yep. So Elizabeth and Luke are actually seeing each other. Which is not, according to Elizabeth, is not something you want to do in the Van de Bosch household. Like, it's forbidden. Alright.
Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically.
Okay. I still tried though. Maybe? Ah, yeah, there it
Beginning
is.
to become clearer.
She must have used the cleaning rag to reach into the chimney, keeping her hand soot free. Which means I would have to check out the chimney. Alright, and then we got 2 here. So, Cassandra watched Florette after she returned. Cassandra, previously mistreated Florette. And we also have Elizabeth denying knowledge of the parcel.
Is there something I am not seeing?
Of course, I screwed that up. So, how can you accuse her
I must
Have you
take a
been watching
different
her the
approach if I
entire
am
time?
to uncover the truth.
There we go.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
As she was constantly busy and under the watchful eye of Madame, Fleurette lacked an opportunity to take the bracelet. Why would Madame accuse her? So Fleurette had no opportunity.
This will not get me any closer to my goal. Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically.
Crap. Okay. Oh, wait.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
All signs are pointing to Fleurette being treated rather harshly by Madame. Would Madame escalate such treatment? Well, I mean, the answer is yes.
Order and method. That is the way to solve the problem.
Okay. So I've got one link left. Okay.
I must act on thought and fact, not on impulse.
Good.
I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me.
And I can't continue until I get this thing. Oh! I'm dumb!
What a revelation!
Or, as Hercule Poirot says, I'm not using my little grey cells. Would Madame seize the opportunity in an attempt to improve and continue to hide her financial woes? Most likely.
Is there something I am not seeing? Order and method. That is the way to solve the problem.
Oh, excuse me.
Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically.
Oh. Sometimes I'm really dumb.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Her incarceration appears to be the latest in a series of abuses by Madame. I have no doubt in young Fleurette's innocence. What I do doubt is the behavior of Madame Von de Bush. If what I have heard is true, her treatment towards Fleurette is disgraceful. Which completes this mind map. After several tries. Alright. So there's that one. So. Now to talk to Florette before we go upstairs. Oh, I hate that it takes me so long to figure stuff out.
Anything to show you I didn't do it. And Madame, I need this job, monsieur.
This is not the first time Madame Von de Bush has taken her anger out on you, is it?
She never used to be such a witch. When the Viscount was alive, she was much nicer. He was the head of the house, he gave the orders, and he treated us right. I would have gone long ago, monsieur, but my family can't afford for me to be picky about my employment.
I was not aware you were supporting your family, and at such a young age.
Papa lost his job at the factory just before he left for good, so Mama had to work even more. I was old enough, so I went to work. When I joined the Van den Bosch house, the Viscount was very kind. I didn't think he would care, but he wanted to help. He gave me some extra in my first pay pack, enough to keep the landlord from kicking Mama out at least. No one had ever been that nice before. I didn't know what to say, but all he wanted me to do was work hard for her. He even let me to go home and visit Mama and my brothers at Christmas with a food parcel from the kitchen. Mama said she had never seen so much food. It's always been hard for her. Even before he left for good, Papa wasn't around much, and even when he was, we both wished he wasn't. My brothers were too young to remember what he was like, I hope. When I walked in Mama's house, everything seemed so much smaller. I must have got too used to the size of this house. I swear, you could fit our house in just this lounge. We didn't have much, but we didn't want for much. It was simple and it was home.
The valuables in the house do not determine the love it shares.
Someone should tell Madame that. Not that she'd listen anyways.
I will uncover the truth of what happened today, mademoiselle. That, I promise you.
The Viscount's kind nature shines through again. His treatment of the staff is quite a contrast from that of the Madames. From the way this young mademoiselle speaks of her family, I cannot believe she would risk her employment at the house and put them in an even worse position.
Merci. I shall take everything you have told me into consideration.
Nah, she wouldn't have. But somebody here is doing something dirty. Because otherwise... I wonder if Mademoiselle Angeline noticed Madame's abrupt departure. Let's have a word with her, shall we? Maybe she has.
The longer you are here, the further the criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away.
Oh, never mind. Nothing to talk about.
You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit and return your bracelet.
Also, the voice actor for Hercule Poirot in both this game and the London case does a really good job.
Huh.
The frame is noticeably cracked. Furthermore, the internal latch shows it has been opened from the inside rather forcefully, I must add. So that's something to take into account. I didn't mean to step on the glass. So... But before we do, we now have the open window. So, where is this gonna go, I wonder? Wait a second.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
It was forced open, and looking at the poker, I cannot see a delicate way it could have been done. Who would do such a thing, and why? So someone forced the window open with the poker from the inside. And now we have one last thing to do. Check out the fireplace. I suppose this is one such occasion when I must literally get my hands dirty. And here is the bracelet. It was carefully concealed inside a rectangular metal tin. So, we now have the bracelet. It was missing after all. Well, hidden is a more appropriate term. Nope.
This will not get me any closer to my goal.
Alright.
I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me.
Nope. So why would she stash the keepsakes in the chimney? No.
I must take a different approach if I am to uncover the truth.
Oh. Wait, that makes sense to me, but oh well.
Another success. I never doubted myself.
To stage a burglary and let it go so far is totally unacceptable. I cannot believe I allowed Mademoiselle Angeline to deceive me for so long, hiding the bracelet inside the chimney and staging a burglary, all part of her calculated and devious plan. I should bring this investigation to an end. Enough of my time has already been wasted, but I will not be satisfied until I know why. So, much as I want to confront you, I know I can't. Because I'll get the same generic answer. So the confirmed evidence here is that Cassandra is desperate for money. But the question is, why? Why is she so desperate for money? Well, besides the fact that she can't seem to suddenly pay the bills. So. There's still... I think there might be one more thing that I gotta do. Let me see if I can talk to Elizabeth still. And do you have anything new for me? No. Can I chit-chat with Florette?
Anything to show you I didn't do it. And Madame, I need this job, monsieur.
Okay.
Merci. I shall take everything you have told me into consideration.
So I think I do actually have to confront Angeline. Wait, can I go into this door? No, I can't. Okay. That's up. I know it was you.
The longer you are here, the further the criminal
Oh,
goes
excuse
with
me.
my bracelet. But by all means, fire away.
You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit and return your bracelet.
Okay. Is there something that I forgot to do? Can't remember what to do.
Oh,
Something has obviously resided here for some time and only moved recently. I was missing one last piece of evidence. I feel so stupid. And now I could confront you.
The longer you are here, the further the criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away.
And besides the bracelet, have you noticed anything else missing?
Is one bracelet not enough? I have checked everywhere. You can ask Elizabeth if you don't believe me. It is only my bracelet that is missing.
as I have stated, it is my duty to speak with every member of the house, and I would not want to have discovered a further missing piece later. You have been of great help to my investigation, mademoiselle. I will do everything I can to find the culprit and return your bracelet.
I was missing that. I feel dumb. I feel very dumb. That should have been a hint for earlier. Laura, do you have anything new for me? No, you don't. Cool. So I think the only person left to talk to is Elizabeth. Elizabeth's the only person left that I have to talk to. Because Madame Von de Bush... has run out. Elizabeth, time for you to confess.
Certainly, officer.
Did you notice anything else missing when you returned?
Now I think of it, I don't recall seeing her memento tin.
Memento tin? Could this have been what usually resides on the desk in Mademoiselle's bedroom?
She holds her keepsakes from her father and other gifts or tokens in it. She has such a wonderful collection. She's very lucky. She normally keeps it close, but I didn't see it this morning.
Merci, mademoiselle. Your assistance has been invaluable.
Alright. So that pretty much confirms that Angeline is lying to us. So now we gotta go back up and confront her again. This game's got a slow burn to it, but it's honestly and truly really good. Alright, I know you've got something. You don't have anything new for me? Come on.
The longer you are here,
Maybe
the
it's just
further the
bugged.
criminal goes with my bracelet. But by all means, fire away.
Nope.
You have been of great help to my...
Alright, sorry to cut that off short. So there's gotta be something new. Must be something. Classic novels. There's the clock. If I could... I'm mad at myself. I missed this. There is nothing in particular about this coat, but what is in this pocket? Hidden inside the coat pocket, although fairly plain, it is still an attractive item of jewelry. I wonder if it holds a special significance. And that's what it is. I might have figured everything else out, but...
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
Perhaps the relationship is more serious than I first deduced. I wonder what Madame would say. Elizabeth and Luke are betrothed, which would explain the formal suit.
Magnifique.
I find the thought of such a plan cloaked in secrecy rather romantic, but their secrecy continues to perturb me. Mademoiselle Elizabeth was planning to elope with her beloved Luke, but why would she hide such a joyous occasion? I recall her saying, Madame Von de Bush does not look fondly on staff relationships, but I cannot help but think there is something else. So, that's what I was missing. I was missing... I feel so stupid. I love this game, and I love the fact that it makes my little gray cells work. But sometimes, this game can be a pain in the ass. Alright, Elizabeth, spill the beans. I mean, all the beans.
Certainly, officer.
You seem rather excited earlier at the mention of Romeo and Juliet.
How could I not be? I may not enjoy his other works, but how can one not be blown away by a story of two so deeply in love that they will risk everything just to be together?
Especially being able to draw similarities between Verona's star-crossed lovers to yourself and your dearest.
What's did?
But I hadn't told.
Mademoiselle, I am an officer of the law. It is my duty to uncover the truth.
Please, you cannot say anything to Madame. She is against staff relationships of any kind. In her eyes, a relationship between staff is nothing more than a distraction.
But he means so much more to you.
Oh, officer, I have found my soulmate. At first, it was nothing more than pleasantries around the grounds, but that quickly changed. I know it's not proper for a young lady to pursue a gentleman, but once I knew his feelings reciprocated my own, why shouldn't I have followed my heart?
Love transcends professional and societal rules.
See, I gotta disagree with the professional part, but the societal, yes.
The mere thought of him was enough to make me blush, but I knew that Madame would never give her blessing. If we wanted to continue, we would have to do so in secret. The summer evenings here are just so beautiful. I often find myself walking around the grounds after my daily duties are complete. And it was one such evening that Luke was waiting for me at the gazebo. He looked ever so handsome. And the poem he had prepared, he had barely started reading and I was already a blubbering mess. Standing there beneath the warm glow of the falling sun, he asked for my hand, and I gave him my heart with no hesitation. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I've been chattering on for so long. You have much more pressing matters than to listen to me rambling aimlessly.
One should never apologize for such a charming and bewitching story of love. But you are correct. While the culprit still eludes us, my work is not yet complete.
I should have done this earlier. I should have figured it out earlier. The love Mademoiselle Elizabeth and Luke share is obvious, and yet she remains respectful of Madame's ruling, no matter the ridiculous nature of it. I cannot see her defying her code and stealing the bracelet. The investigation continues. Alright. Time to address the
You have
house.
found the culprit and the bracelet.
Everything will be revealed in good time. Would you be so kind as to gather everyone in the lounge?
Of course.
Unfortunately, this part doesn't necessarily...
Merci, Mademoiselle Elizabeth,
Sorry.
for gathering everyone. Will Madame Van den Bosch be joining us shortly?
She stormed past me not long ago, and I have not seen her return.
Very well. Under usual circumstances, I would wait. But I think we have spent enough time on this matter, n'est-ce pas? We shall have to proceed. This
Shit.
morning started like any other.
Me too.
My usual ordinary patrol, until I was approached by Mademoiselle Elizabeth about a suspected burglary and a missing bracelet.
A crime I've been falsely blamed for.
That I shall come to. I began my investigation outside, but it was not long before I realized there were no signs of an intruder, so I turned my focus to those in the house. You. Florette, your time here at the house has not always been the easiest for you, shall we say.
I do what Madame tells me.
And to the highest standard, I presume.
Madame's standards are very high. I do my best.
And you would at least expect fair treatment for the work, not to be spoken to in such a cruel and vicious way.
Monsieur?
I refer to how poorly Madame Van den Bosch treats you. You are at her beck and call, and she does nothing but belittle you.
That is Maman you're talking about. Just wait until...
It is nothing but the truth I speak, mademoiselle.
Then you know it's true too. You've probably seen it, and you still turn a blind eye to it.
All the while, mademoiselle stands by and does not even notice such cruelty. That must have angered you. Perhaps you thought it was time they deserved some retribution.
Stop trying to put words in her mouth.
Oh, so now you're gonna get angry? Are you going to correct me?
I am merely giving her a voice, one that has been silenced for so long.
Maybe I do think she deserves it. She's had the world handed to her on a plate, and the likes of me get nothing.
A motive begins to rear its head.
You're just trying to get me to admit to something. Well, I've done nothing.
Allow me to finish. I am sure you will want to hear what follows. Let us return to this morning.
Shit. I forgot about this part.
I was only trying to help Lizzie.
You must have known how Madame would have reacted to your late return, especially with her prior treatment of you.
She's angry at whatever I do.
But nonetheless, you were willing to help a colleague, a friend, knowing what the repercussions could be. And that show of loyalty to your friend has been the thing that proved your innocence.
Monsieur?
Because of such willingness to help, you were delayed in town, meaning you had no viable way of taking the bracelet from Mademoiselle Angeline's room. There was simply no opportunity.
I told you! Maybe now Madame will believe me.
It is evidence not even she can ignore. Which then leads us to Mademoiselle Elisabeth.
Busted.
Mademoiselle Elisabeth, you have been with the Van den Bosch family for quite some time now, correct?
That is correct.
You have grown close with both ladies of the house and your fellow members of the house staff, would you say?
Of course. And I certainly hope they feel the same.
You yourself told me Madame Van den Bosch would not stand for it, and you would both be out of a job.
Elizabeth? What is he talking about?
A love that is reminiscent of Romeo and Juliet, one that must remain hidden from the world from fear of expulsion.
If you don't stop, I will tell Maman. You can't speak to her like that.
It may be a tone you do not like, but it is no worse than your maman's ruling that forced them into secrecy to begin with.
I'm sorry. This isn't how I wanted you to find out. We couldn't risk Madame finding out. I don't know what we would do without this house.
What are you talking about, Elizabeth?
Luke and I, we're in love.
Luke? The gardener? But why wouldn't you tell me?
For fear of Madame and her rule, and if neither of you had employment, there would be no way to pay for a wedding, perhaps.
It was never our plan to go behind yours or Madame's back. You must believe me.
You two are to wed?
Yes. Well, no. Not today, as Officer Poirot suspects. Please, it's not what you think.
It is not always what one thinks, or how something may appear, rather where the evidence points, and that is to Mademoiselle Angeline.
Busted.
You can't believe I would hide my own bracelet. I have nothing to say. How dare you speak to me like that? You have no idea what you're talking about. You can't actually believe I would hide my own jewelry.
If you didn't, explain to me how your memento tin with the bracelet inside came to be lodged inside the chimney of your bedroom fireplace.
You have no proof I put it there.
Besides you being the only one in the room alone, even after finding the bracelet, I still did not know why you had done it. Until I contemplated why Madame was selling so many heirlooms and art.
You had no right to snoop through our house in the first place.
When it is part of my investigation, I have every right, mademoiselle. The unpaid bills and final notice from the telephone company.
Maman can do what she wants with her art. That means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But when there was no more art to sell, what then? You could not risk her taking your father's bracelet and selling it. So, you staged a burglary pretending it had been taken, preventing her from selling it. Then you stood back as the innocent Florette paid the price.
She didn't think about me at all. She was going to take my bracelet and sell it off. It would have just ended up on some old wrinkly wrist. I didn't think Maman would blame her. I didn't think she would do anything.
But she did. And somehow that evidently didn't cross your mind. When Madame returns, you shall have it all to explain.
Maman can't know what I have done. She will be furious.
So what? You were prepared to let an innocent maid take the fall simply because you didn't want to, let go of the bracelet. Which I do understand myself. But still, you were about to let an innocent person take the fall for something you did. You kinda deserve it.
But Mademoiselle Florette will be proved innocent. And that is what is important. No crime has been committed, so I see no reason why this should continue any longer.
Or why not just say, hey, we found the bracelet. Turns out the guy had stashed it in the fireplace and was planning on coming back later. But I think we might have scared him off.
It is time you considered the consequences of your actions. And now, you must face them head on.
Oh no.
Maman, you're home.
Of course I am. And I brought someone that will bring some order to this chaos.
Major Felix Hagen. He may hold rank of major in the British Army, but I question his authority here at all. He's not an officer of the law. In police matters, I am the authority. This is my investigation. I will not have Madame dictating the results any longer.
Major, I can assure you, I have this situation under control.
From what I have heard, you are far from it.
I don't like him either.
The missing bracelet has been found, and the guilty party has been identified.
I'm well aware that the maidservant was behind it all. And yet I see her standing as free and innocent as you and me.
I am sure Madame Vandenbosch has informed you of her suspicions, but I'm afraid it was merely speculation.
Excuse me?
After conducting a full investigation, the evidence and facts led me to deduce
I certainly hope you are not accusing my daughter of...
I'm sorry, Maman. He's right. Florette is innocent. I just wanted to show you.
Shh, girl. I will not have you guilted into taking the blame for that sticky-fingered girl.
Madame Vandenbosch refuses to acknowledge even a fraction of what has really taken place. I shall not let this continue any longer.
Perhaps it would benefit you to remember you are nothing more than a simple officer of the law.
He's a major in the army. He can't do anything.
Or was it Poirot? A word.
No.
Madame van den Bosch was forced to make her way to inform me, alone, I might add, of the goings-on at the house today.
Major, with all due respect, she was impeding the investigation.
This may be how some officers act in the city, but here we show respect to our citizens. You are an officer of the law and should act as such. Insubordination like this will not be tolerated.
As the ranking officer, I have conducted my investigation and...
Ranking officer? Ha! You are an auxiliary officer. You have little authority over anyone, let alone a major. You would be wise to remember who is close friends with your commanding officer. After what I have heard of your past in the city, I'm sure he would look upon today's events as another failure at the hands of Officer Poirot.
As absurd as this has become, I must select my battles more tactfully. I can only hope the captain at the station will see things with some sense.
Oui, Major.
Now I suggest you do your duty and escort the maidservant to the station where she can be formally charged and a sufficient punishment handed out.
Oh. Later game's gonna be so much more satisfying.
Right away.
Unfortunately, not all cases end with a happy ending.
I'm sorry, mademoiselle. This is not the outcome I expected.
Maman was right. We'll always pay the price for the upper class's actions.
We will do everything we can to clear your name.
What can you do now? Madame said I'm guilty of a crime and I'll be punished. That's that.
A crime that was never committed. Once the truth is explained, this wrong shall be set right.
Angeline did not intend for you to be arrested. Surely you know her better than that.
I should have known better than to expect anything else. Justice and fairness don't reach the likes of me.
The young lady has already faced so much mistreatment at the hands of Van de Bush. I shall not allow her punishment to continue.
What you saw today was not justice. In the eyes of the law, you are innocent and have been harshly treated and wrongly accused. No one will be going to jail.
But that doesn't help my employment, does it?
That I cannot save. But your freedom, I shall make sure of that.
I feel like an imposter dressed in police clothing. I was brought here today as a representative of the law, and any shred of authority I had was dashed at the hands of the major. I refuse to allow justice to waver and for it to become nothing more than a hand for those that wish to play it as and when they choose. This is not the first time I have seen the law bent to fit one's purpose, but it will certainly be the last time I fail to stop it. I was really upset when I finished my first playthrough of that prologue. Very, very, very upset. But as I said, the rest of the game is going to be so much more satisfying. I'm not dropping any spoilers. But anyhow, I hope y'all have enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. So, later. Bye! Mwah!